The first step to any Shopify site design process is to pick a theme. Now, I highly don't recommend you guys using one of the free themes that Shopify gives you right at start, or even one of the free themes available in the theme store. Paid themes usually run between $160 to $200, and they are an amazing investment because usually once you've mastered using one type of theme style, you can use it over and over and over again, regardless of what niche you're playing in or what site you're trying to build. So don't be cheap. Cheap people will never succeed. There's a difference between being cheap and also being financially responsible. And let me just tell you that $200 saved from a theme file is not a place where you want to cut corners. The particular theme that we're using for this lesson is called District Theme. It is one of my personal favorites because it's so versatile across an array of niches. Obviously, there's some great themes out there, but this is one that I still use to this day on a lot of my own stores. So just know that you're getting the medicine that I am taking as well. And if you can't even figure out how to get to this view, how to purchase a theme and put it on your Shopify and then start editing it, there's no hand holding in this video course. I am not gonna go through some basic stuff. Ain't nobody got time for that. If you can't even figure out that step, oh man, good luck on being an entrepreneur. So you guys can see up top that we've already done the collections, which is very, very easy for navigation. You just go to Shopify and navigation and you can easily figure it out. That's not something I'm going to cover. Also, something like registering a domain and linking it up to Shopify, you can also do within Shopify. Again, super, super easy stuff. So what we have right now is essentially a blank canvas of this theme, and we're going to be adding elements to the theme that's going to turn into a skeleton or a roadmap that we will actually fill up. It's sort of like establishing the blueprints of a building before you actually start constructing it, and to this day we've basically figured out a really, really good formula of building a beautiful website. Again, this is something that you guys can change and optimize on and do different variations of, but this is just something that's worked really well for us. The first element that we're going to add is something called a slideshow, and to do this you just go to add section and click slideshow, and essentially what this is going to do is it's the rotating banners that you'll see frequently on a website, and they're very engaging. The next element that we're going to add is going to be something called gallery, and this is going to correspond to the number of collections you have. So we have 3 collections in this instance, so we're going to adjust it so there's actually only 3 images as a part of these collections. The final section is going to be a featured catalog, and essentially what that will do is we can showcase whatever products we want on the home page. These featured collections are usually called bestsellers, or maybe most popular, or even featured collection, or you can call it homepage catalog, whatever you want to name it, but this is basically the items that you put on the front face of your website, usually to give users a glimpse of what type of products you're going to sell, and maybe also showcase some of your highest converters from the past. And there you go, this is the basic skeleton of a high converting website. So in our situation, we already know what we want to call this website. We're selling MMA gear, and we decided to call the brand Fight Cartel. The first element of a niche branded dropshipping store is going to be the logo. Now, if you really think about logos that you've seen, very popular ones from popular brands, they're usually made up of one or both of these things, which is usually a symbol that represents the brand, and then also a text in some sort of special font that resonates with the brand, or sometimes you can also use a logo that is just text alone in a special font. Just to be very versatile for you guys, we're going to be making a logo that includes both a symbol / picture as well as text in a special font. To start, we're going to pick a font that we're actually going to use as a part of this logo, and guess what? I'm doing something truly, truly revolutionary here. I have Googled exactly what I'm looking for, which is fonts related to fighting, because we're building an MMA store. And this reinforces my point, you guys, to be proactive before you actually reach out for help. If you guys are going to DM me and ask me, hey Kevin, how do I find a special font? I honestly will break my computer. Just kidding, I'm gonna break your computer. But anyways, on the world of fonts, something I want to emphasize is that you should never be paying for any fonts. There are so many free websites out there with so many incredible fonts, and even if a font is paid for, there are slight variations of it that honestly no one can discern with their eye. That's probably free, so don't be paying for fonts. Go to one of these sites and you'll find a great one. Something tells me that free fight fonts is exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to go with Royal Fighter, so let's press download. We'll save it to our computer to be used for a later time. So we're going to find the picture element of our logo, and what I've done is gone onto a website called Shutterstock. Shutterstock is something we call a stock photo website. There are free ones, there are paid ones, and in general it is a prime investment even for the paid ones. Shutterstock is a great one, iStock is also another great one, and Unsplash is a really good one if you're looking for free content. What stock photo websites essentially do is compile a bunch of very high quality images, whether they're lifestyle images, logos, or anything else. Hell, I bet there's even dirty images. Don't go looking for it when you're at the office or at work. No one wants to see that stuff. But again, just check out how much awesome content there is already by looking up Fight logo, which is exactly what we're looking for anyways. Again, sometimes searching the obvious is exactly what you need to do. So we're looking around and I really like this image, so I'm going to use this as our logo. We already have a subscription to Shutterstock, so I'm going to go ahead and just download it and save it to be used in Photoshop. Remember, even logos need Photoshop. Ding, ding, ding. It's something you need to learn. So I'm going to go ahead and use the text tool in Photoshop, which does exactly as you guessed it, typing. And what we're going to do is type out the name of our store. As you can see, Royal Fighter is already a font that's selected. All you have to do is double click the file and you will be able to install it really easily. We're going to make this a little bit bigger, and bam, this is already the first component of our logo. And if we didn't want a symbol, this could be the logo by itself. So now all we have to do is integrate the symbol by copy and pasting it onto the text and doing some resizing so that we can combine both the symbol and the text to create our logo. As you can see, after a few adjustments, it's starting to look pretty freaking good. I'm going to give you one of my favorite hacks, which is to take the text tool and use a different font and type out TM, which means trademark. This is something you guys can all do. You don't need a lawyer or anything for this. It just communicates a more professional feel, and bam, in a matter of minutes, we've actually made a pretty brilliant logo completely on our own with the resources that are available on the internet. So stop wasting money on Fiverr and Upwork and paying these people $50 or even more to create a custom logo for you. I promise at that price it is not a custom logo. Chances are they're using some free software to just generate a random symbol and a random font, and honestly you could just do it on your own anyways. So there you go. That's the secret. For all you guys that are making logos on Fiverr for money, I'm sorry, I just sent you into the unemployment realm. Alright, now that we've made a beautiful logo for this website, let's move on and start creating some banners. In this instance, with the district theme, banners are going to be the slideshow element on the left. And banners are very important to your website because it's one of the earliest stylistic things that your customer is actually going to interact with before they may even see any single product on your website. You'll notice that your favorite brands that have websites will also be featuring banners, and I would say in general there are 3 different things that these banners will feature. Number 1 would be some sort of sale, as we see here in the instance with North Face. Number 2, it would be some sort of promotion that's going on, maybe a bundle of products or maybe a particular collection that they're trying to push, and we see this example here with Warby Parker. And then lastly is some sort of motif that really resonates with the brand, as we can see here with Nike. So I'm only going to teach you how to graphically design an engaging banner. The actual content of the banner is completely up for you to test and completely up for you to decide. So let's get started making a banner. Well, we got to go to our best friend Shutterstock, and you can use another stock photo source as well. But basically you're going to browse around here, and I've typed in MMA, and we're going to look for a picture that we find engaging that we would want to edit and turn into a banner on our website. So I've gone ahead and found an image that I want to work with, and of course we're opening it in our best friend Photoshop, and the first thing you want to do is unlock that layer, and we're actually going to be resizing this image to 1500 by 600, and the reason for this is because we've noticed this is the best dimensions for district theme banners. So go ahead and do that, make sure it's set to pixels, and now you just have to resize it because we've changed the canvas size, and drag it back, and bam, it's optimal. Alright, so now we're ready to add some text to this image. The first thing to remember is that people read from left to right. So we need a way to move this boxing glove from the left hand side to the right hand side so it's easier for us to design exactly what we want. And how do I know that text should go from the left to the right? Well, it's something I like to call common sense. And it's something that actually a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs completely lack. So the more of it that you have, the more of it that you're aware of it, the more money you're going to save and the more money you're going to make. Now, I like to point out that I'm only going to be designing one particular banner in real time. This doesn't mean that for every single banner that you come with, you actually have to flip the image this way. I'm merely showcasing some essential skills in Photoshop that are sure to make an impact on your website. But again, I hope this really underscores my first point earlier in the video, which is that Photoshop is a very, very essential tool to develop within the world of e-commerce. Now let's get back to flipping this image. We simply press edit, transform, and then flip horizontal. It's really that easy, so I better not see any of your banners have text going the wrong way. Alright, to start adding text, we're just simply going to use the horizontal text tool. We're going to now select the font that we want to use and adjust it so it's in the right orientation, and then we can start coming up with some content. When thinking about what we want to communicate to customers, I really want to give them a message that's going to resonate with them and also really differentiate myself from maybe some other e-commerce players. And if you are dropshipping, one big thing you can offer right from the start is free international shipping. This, of course, is an advantage that dropshippers have over other types of e-commerce players because the cost of ePacket is fairly negligible on AliExpress. So now we're just going to adjust the text, adjust the image until it's perfect, and bam, we're offering value to customers and the first thing they see on the website. But we're not finished because we don't want to be lazy, and you'll notice the text really isn't standing out right now, so we're going to want to change it to a different color. And why don't we actually add some continuity to this website and make it the same color as our logo? You'll see a lot of big brands keeping some similar color palettes. In order to do this, we're going to use the eyedropper tool to basically sense what color this is, and this will actually give us a code right over here that we can actually copy and paste over every single time we want to use this color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and using the text tool again, edit the text and change it to the color that we just picked. Even though we successfully changed the color, this text is still not where we want it to be stylistically, so I'm going to teach you a few hacks on how you can make any text more engaging. First thing is a drop shadow. To start, all we have to do is press the little FX button right here, which will add another layer. That's an adjustment layer. And then we press drop shadow. Now all we have to do is fool around the settings until it's perfect and exactly where we want it. And bam, the text is going to look a lot more engaging, as you can see here. Another hack to make text more engaging is to actually darken the lighting of a particular picture, and we're going to do that right now by going first to the rectangular tool and drawing a box right in front of the image as so, and then we're going to move that layer all the way to the end, and then we're going to click on the color settings and change it to black because we're darkening. Furthermore, we're going to add a new mask layer onto the original image. Next up, we're going to use the gradient tool, and it's really easy to use. You just draw lines, and bam, you can see that the lighting has been darkened, and now the text is a lot more engaging and stands out a lot more to the human eye. So the text looks a little bit lonely on its own, so why don't we create some more? And we can do this just by doing some simple copy and pasting, and we're going to make sure everything is lined up perfectly so that this thing is really, really professional looking for the consumers. And I'm about to put some messaging that applies to me, but in general, there's a very, very golden rule that you should not be putting any messaging here that isn't actually true. You can get in a lot of trouble for it, and also customers are going to give you terrible feedback. And in today's day and age, for those of you guys that are already doing e-commerce, you know that satisfying customers is going to solve a lot of your headaches down the road. We have a team trained in place to offer 24/7 customer support, so we're going to go ahead and put there. You can commit to this too if you're really going to be working around the clock and answering your customers' emails. This last bit is also a policy I recommend all of you guys put in, because this is how you should be handling customer support, which is hassle-free returns. And this is really, really important. I know a lot of dropshippers out there that have different terms and conditions where they're trying to trick the customer. You know, if you order a product and your name happens to have a vowel inside, no returns. Obviously, that's a crazy example, but people really do have some crazy policies. You might think you're being clever, but when you start getting chargebacks and start getting negative feedback, customers don't really care what your policies were. And trust me, payment processors and Facebook feedback surveys don't really care about what your customer support policy is either. At the end of the day, you have to make sure you're taking care of the people that are buying products from your website. Now when customers come onto this website, they're really going to see 3 different messages that will instill trust and confidence. I'm going to add a little bit more flair by drawing some lines, and we're going to use the rectangular tool for this, that are going to separate the text, and we're going to want to center things perfectly. There we go. And let's also get another one right over here. And again, Photoshop does the centering for you, but you notice that it still doesn't look that good because the lines are in front of the punching glove. So we're actually going to be doing some adjustments. We're going to select the layer that includes these lines, and then by using the eraser tool, we're going to go really close and erase the part of the line that is actually in front of the fist. And now you'll see that this is starting to look like a professional magazine or a professional ad. This trick is commonly used in the industry where the lines are actually going behind the hand. And you can see how even with some simple tools and tricks, we're already making this website look extremely professional. How many dropshippers do you know that are actually willing to take the time and attention to detail to do something like this? And this is a message that I want to echo over and over again, which is in e-commerce and especially in life. When you take the time, the effort, and the attention to do something that no one else is willing to do, you're also going to be able to achieve results that no one else is able to achieve. And that's really a theme that I carry out throughout my life as an entrepreneur. And certainly you just saw a manifestation of that in how we made this banner. And you can see this is not some scammy general store. This is not some scammy single product site. And honestly, I'd be hard pressed to think of anyone outside of a professional brand that would actually be able to make a banner as polished as this one. So now that we've made this beautiful banner, let's actually plug it into Shopify, and it's going to be really easy to do. We just click that slideshow element. We're going to make this the first banner, and we're going to upload it. I've already done this, so let's just select it. There you go. That's our beautiful work. And banners are going to have to link to something, so you can choose what it links to. It can be collections, pages, products, whatever you want. In this particular instance, we're just going to skip that part, and we also have to delete the text. That gets rid of that annoying text that you see right on top of the banner. And once you've decided to link this to something, honestly, your banner is really good to go. Now, I just want to echo again that the point of this video was not to just give you everything you need to know to learn about Photoshop. I think I shared a lot of cool tips and hacks, and you could really see step by step what I did. But you will have to spend some time on your own playing with Photoshop, editing different types of pictures, making your own banners in order to get better and better and better. And it's with practice that makes perfect. Just remember that I started with only $3,000 in my bank account, not knowing anything about e-commerce, not knowing anything about ad strategy, not knowing anything about graphic design or Photoshop. And now you can see what I'm truly able to make. So I want you guys to be inspired and get there as well. And if this video went a little fast, rewind. You are working at your own pace and you are not competing with anyone except yourself. So always keep that in mind. With that said, I'm going to be speeding up the process in how I made these other banners so you can just follow along. It should be pretty interesting. You'll see how I go from scratch to making a really, really beautiful website starting with these banners. So I'll see you when the process is done. For all you dreamers at home, this isn't humanly possible. I didn't take a bunch of Adderall. This is actually just a video fast forwarded. some tiresome work. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and now you can see we have some beautiful, beautiful banners that are going to be gracing the eyes of some lovely customers the moment they click on one of our ad copies. And if these babies don't convert them, I really don't know what will. So again, make sure you're learning at your own pace, and I hope you really enjoyed on how we learn how to make these banners, and we can see it looks just as good in mobile. And if these don't crush it, honestly, I sure as hell don't know what will. We just got done making some fire popping banners, and we're gonna fill out the rest of the website, starting with our next element, which is going to be category photos. And keep in mind that category photos are not just an aesthetic piece to your website, it's also a very, very helpful organizational tool, because each of these 3 category pictures is going to correspond with a collection that we've already mapped out on this website. So it's going to help customers navigate to the type of products that they're actually looking for. And obviously we're starting this process by going to our favorite website, Shutterstock, and we're actually going to try to pick a picture that really resonates with the collection that we have in mind. I'm going to make a category photo for the tops collection, and I really want to feature some hoodies, so I looked up literally MMA hoodie on Shutterstock, and we're going to look for a good image. Obviously, you want to also cross-reference iStock as well. If you can afford both subscriptions, it's a great investment. And once you found a picture that you really like, we're going to go to our other tool, Photoshop. Let's have some fun by unlocking this layer, and then we also have to resize the canvas size like we did with the banners, and the ideal aspect ratio here is going to be 500 by 300 pixels, not inches. So this should look really, really familiar from before, and once we do this, obviously we're going to have to do the same sort of adjustments that we did right before, and you can zoom in to make this a little easier, but at this point you can also do it in this view, and it's really, really easy. You just drag it around until things are finally optimal, and again, you want to take your time and be very precise with this so you can make sure that your collection image is exactly how you want it to look. So we're going to play around with it until we're absolutely satisfied, and then the next thing we're going to do is actually create some boundaries for this image, because as you remember, it's actually touching 2 other collection pictures, and we're using that rectangular tool from before, and this is a really clear sign that skills that you learned previously in Photoshop is really going to translate. Let's get these lines very, very nice and thin, and perfect. Now you can see that this is hugging the picture at the top perfectly, and we're just going to actually go ahead and copy and paste it so we also can get another border for the bottom. And obviously we can't forget about the sides as well. We can rotate it, and this is a cool trick. While you rotate it, you can see that the number over there you can change to 90 degrees, and bam, it's going to be a perfect vertical. So we're just going to make one for the left hand side, and let's also make another one for the right hand side. And again, this is important because we want some spacing between the collection pictures while they're actually touching each other on the particular website, because that looks a lot more clean and professional. The goal here is to be as professional as possible so we can inspire as much trust as possible from the consumers that want to go to our website. So we're finishing up this image area of this category picture, and now we actually have to start adding in some text because customers need to know what category we're actually trying to sell. So a simple thing to do is just to write shop, and then we're just going to pick the font that's going to stand out the most, or something that's really fitting our theme. And you can see that we're using a very similar font for everything, and then also tops, because that is exactly the product collection that we're trying to push with this category picture. We're going to put them right together over here. As you can see, it's really, really hard to see this, especially if you're a senior citizen and you're interested in MMA. We can't be discriminating against all the fighting grandmas out there. So we're going to be changing this to a different color. We've actually saved the previous color from the logo, again maintaining that consistency throughout this website, and you just copy and paste the code, and bam, you can see it's changed. This looks better than before, but it still doesn't quite tickle my fancy. My mama sure ain't happy, so we're going to try another trick out, which is changing one of the font styles for one of these words. Let's go with tops, and we'll use that Royal Fighter font that we have from before, and you can see, wow, this is looking a lot better. It stands out a lot more and also looks a lot more professional. Just like we did before with the banners, we're going to be adding a drop shadow to this text to make it stand out a lot more, and also we're going to eventually play with the lighting like we did before. If you don't remember how we did that, it's absolutely okay, but make sure you're really internalizing and learning at your own speed so you remember the lessons that we go through, because as you can see, the skills from the banner are clearly translating over here to the category photo. I live in Los Angeles, so I know as well as anyone out there that if you're smoking too much of that green and you got bad memories, it's time to hold it down because you've got to prioritize e-commerce. We're going to play with these shadows right over here, and you can see there's a world of difference from what we started with, and now this is going to be engaging and very readable. Once you've gotten to something that you're satisfied with, we're going to save our work, and remember where you saved it and name it something obvious. I'm going to call it Fight Cartel Tops category photo. You can ask my mom. Creativity certainly runs in the family, and we're actually going to be exporting it as a PNG. And now we got to go over to handy dandy Shopify, and it's not going to be the slideshow. Those are the banners. We're actually going to be going to the gallery element, and the first image, which is going to be the first category picture, we're just going to go upload that file that we just saved. So there it is, and you can see, bam, you've got your first category picture. But remember, category pictures have to link to a collection. In this case, obviously, it's going to be tops. So we're going to click collections, tops, and we'll be able to find it. If you don't know how to make collections, it's super, super easy to do. I'm going to let you guys figure it out. But this is all we had to do to make our first collection picture. Now I'm going to take a hearty dose of my favorite productivity drug, enthusiasm, and power through the rest of these in a fast speed. So stay tuned, and I'll see you back when I'm done. Alright, we're finally at the end of the tunnel. You can see here that the website has really come along, and it is looking absolutely beautiful. There's no way that anyone could tell that this is a dropshipping site. There's the banners that we made together and the category photos. One thing that's very important is that you link the right category photo to the right collection. It'd be really weird if tops was linked to bottoms and vice versa. And this is something called the feature collection. Really easy to do. It's one of the elements we started off with, and you can just go in Shopify and make a collection and organize it in an aesthetic way, sort of in the way that I've done it here. And if you can't figure out how to do a collection in Shopify, dropshipping and e-commerce is the least of your problems. Your big problem is the lack of proactivity in your life. So this is a very, very beautiful website. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at what it looks like in mobile. You can see absolutely gorgeous, and I hope this is really calming down a lot of your nerves with graphic design, web development, things like that. You really don't need that many technical skills to make a very engaging website, and honestly, this is unlike anything your competitors are going to put out there. This is not a scammy general store. This is not a scammy single product store, and I truly believe that it is these branded niche drop shipping stores that are going to survive, prevail, and crush it in 2020 while everyone else dies.